Shalom and welcome back. We're entering into a new chapter in the laws dealing with damages. Damages caused to property, caused by theft and robbery, and damages caused by murder and the preservation of life. Important laws. And again, I say they tell you not to learn these commandments and listen to these commandments. The Most High is telling us how He wants us to preserve life. And we don't want to listen because we think that Paul told us not to, or because someone died on the cross. The Most High standards no longer matter. Matthew 5:17 through 19, my number one go-to scripture when a Christian wants to tell me the Son did away with the laws. It says, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I've not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them." Fulfill meaning confirm, not to get rid of. How do we know this? Because in verse 18 it says, "For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled." He didn't say till he passed away. He said till heaven and earth pass away. So his death, believe it or not, is not all fulfillment. And verse 19 goes on to say, "Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven." So we're learning the laws today that we may do and teach them in obedience. So thank you guys for joining me. Let's continue on with law number 463 through 466, talking about the laws of property damages. It says the court must judge damages incurred by a goring ox, an animal eating, a pit, or by fire. The point of these laws is everyone is held accountable if they or something they owned caused damages to another. Now, looking at laws pertaining to theft, as you go through these, I want you to think on how relevant these commands are today. Christianity says these laws are done away with. So what replaces them are the laws of state and federal government. But look at the fact that the Most High had these laws in mind when it came to keeping the peace among the people in a community who trade and offer products and services to one another in business practice. Looking at the laws of theft, law number 467, not to steal money, Leviticus 19:11. Law number 468, the court must implement punitive measures against the thief, Exodus 21:37. Law 469, each individual must ensure that his scales and weights are accurate, Leviticus 19:36. Law 470, not to commit injustice with scales and weights, Leviticus 19:35. So now we're talking about dishonesty when it comes to business practice, trying to charge more than what a product or service is worth. Law number 471, not to possess inaccurate scales and weights, even if they are not for use, Deuteronomy 25:13. Law 472, not to move a boundary marker to steal someone's property, Deuteronomy 19:14. So we have as-built surveys today to prevent this from happening, but there was a time when someone could literally pick up a border line and move it to the left or to the right to claim more property than they actually owned. Looking at kidnapping, law number 473, not to kidnap, based on Exodus 20, verse 13. So we're now branching off into more serious territory, going from property damage to theft to kidnapping, a very real crime, relevant even today. Kidnapping is stealing, either stealing a family member from another, like a child, or stealing an individual from their independent right to exist in peace without being taken against their will. We're commanded not to do so. Now going into laws regarding robbery, another serious issue. Law number 474, not to rob openly, Leviticus 19:13. Law 475, not to withhold wages or fail to repay a debt, Leviticus 19:13. Law 476, not to scheme to acquire another's possession, Exodus 20:14. Law 477, not to desire another person's possession, Deuteronomy 5:18. Law 478, return the robbed object or its value, Leviticus 5:23. So that's considered restitution in today's court system. Law 479, not to ignore a lost object, Deuteronomy 22:3. Law 480, to return the lost object, Deuteronomy 22, verse 1. In Law 481, the court must implement laws against the one who assaults another or damages another's property. Exodus 21, verse 18. Now, looking at laws of murder and preservation of life. Law number 482, not to murder, based on Exodus 20, verse 13. Law 483, not to accept monetary restitution to atone for the murderer. Numbers 35:31. Law number 484, the court must send the accidental murderer to a city of refuge. Numbers 35:25. Cities of refuge were established throughout the kingdoms of Israel and Judah for perpetrators of manslaughter, where they could live without the threat of someone trying to kill them for what they have done. If a murderer attempted to live outside of these cities, vengeance could occur. So this was a way to keep the peace rather than have the murderers living amongst the people. Law 485, not to accept monetary restitution instead of being sent to a city of refuge. Numbers 35:32. Law 486, not to kill the murderer before he stands trial. Numbers 35:12. Law 487, save someone being pursued even by taking the life of the pursuer. Deuteronomy 25:11-12. Law 488, not to pity the pursuer. Numbers 35:12. Law 489, not to stand idly by if someone's life is in danger. Leviticus 19:16. Law number 490, designate cities of refuge and prepare routes of access. Deuteronomy 19:3. Law number 491, to break the neck of a calf by the river valley following an unsolved murder. Deuteronomy 21:4. So again, this is a sacrificial law involving a heifer. It was handled by the priests, where the elders of the city were to come wash their hands over the heifer that was beheaded on behalf of the slain man. Law 492, not to work or plant that river valley. Deuteronomy 21:4. And branching off into the preservation of life. Law number 493, not to allow pitfalls and obstacles to remain on your property. Deuteronomy 22, verse 8. These pitfalls could hurt someone. So anything on your property that could be a danger to another, it's your responsibility to take care of it to prevent that from happening. Law 494, make a guardrail around flat roofs. Deuteronomy 22:8. The law is to protect the areas where someone could fall and hurt themselves. In this case, a flat roof. Law 495, not to put a stumbling block before a blind man or give harmful advice. Leviticus 19:14. And I would say any disabled individual, don't take advantage of that disability, either to harm them or to benefit yourself. Preservation of life extends also to health and safety, and everyone is entitled to that preservation without others trying to block it for their own advantage, including the disabled. Law 496, to help another remove the load from a beast which can no longer carry it. Exodus 23:5. Law 497, to help others load their beast. Deuteronomy 22:4. And Law 498, not to leave others distraught with their burdens, but to help either load or unload. Deuteronomy 22:4. So this obviously refers back to the days when animals were used to carry loads. But in today's context, even if you see someone struggling to carry with their own hands, don't hesitate to assist. The command says not to leave others distraught with their burdens. This too contributes to the preservation of life, simply helping others. I want to thank you guys for joining me in this study. We've reviewed 498 laws, 19 of which need to be omitted because they were repeats or false additions, 40 laws that need to be changed to fit their scriptural reference, and 227 laws that can no longer be kept today. So although we've studied 498 laws, only 479 of them are true laws. And of these true laws, only 252 can be observed today by scattered Israel. Thank you guys for joining me today. Until next time, this is Judiah. Shalom.